Let's get political, political. All right, I just did a review of Russia's tea. In fact, I still have them sitting right here. Woohoo! So you can see that other video for that. But it let me, I want to kind of, rant is a little strong. I want to express something that's quite serious. You know, the United States of America was established on the idea of liberty, not the idea of government helping people all the time and stealing from one and giving to another, as if some sort of modern Robin Hood. The Robin Hood myth, what's really missed in the modern day reinterpretation is that Robin Hood stole from the government. He stole from the ruling class to give to the oppressed poor. So let's just get rid of that whole idea that socialism is some kind of Robin Hood. But the ideas of the United States, as expressed in the Constitution, were of really two main threads. One was liberty, and one was something else. One, self-responsibility. Basically, without self-responsibility, in other words, you did the right thing not because the law said you had to, but because, well, it was the right thing to do. And so, now granted, it was a very small economy, much smaller country than what we have now. It was an idea of trying to get these 13 colonies to be one country instead of 13, for fear the British would just start picking them off one by one. Maybe even Spain in the south coming up through Florida. So there needed to be some kind of unity. And the northern delegates laid the foundation in the Constitution to eventually get rid of slavery. They really didn't want it, really hadn't gotten an industrial revolution going. That really wasn't until later. So that was really, what did we replace these massive labor forces with? So, you know, a lot of people will say, yeah, but the seeds of its destruction were laid in there. And you have framers of the Constitution who talk about socialism in, not with the modern day terms, but that the idea that the government was supposed to be benevolent onto people was repugnant to the Constitution. You skip forward a little over 100 years and we get FDR and his progressive policies, his left-wing progressive policies. And the progressive policies, I'll do it this way so when people watch, this is my right but your left, they're really in parallel. You have fascism and you have on the right, if you will, and you have socialism, Marxism, all that other crap on the left side of that parallel line, but it leads to tyranny. The idea is that it just leads straight to tyranny by some fashion. The only real difference is who owns things. If it's your communism, socialism, those types of things, Marxism, the government owns everything and bestows upon people their livelihood, which means their life sucks. If you're in the ruling class, well, your life's great, but if you're not, well, you're enslaved. The fascism line of that, the so-called right wing, is that the government works with business to accomplish the same level of tyranny. I've been hearing recently of a lot of things of, crony capitalism. Well, that's baloney. That is fascism with a different name. It's not capitalistic at all. Capitalism is free enterprise and it's expressed in the private sector. The government, if at all present, is to help negotiate disputes, define boundaries. But then again, the self-responsibility comes into play. If I own a business and I am polluting my neighbor's yard, I am at fault. That's the idea behind what was liberalism. What people we call liberals today, they're not liberals at all. They're just a bunch of tyrants running around, or tyrant wannabes, or supporters of tyrants. It's amazing. People, if you fill their stomachs with food, how they'll just rise up and support a tyrant. It's unbelievable. So these ideas, you know, FDR threatens to pack the court. The court suddenly reverses itself over, 130, 140 years of precedent. It says, yes, we can do these things. His cousin Theodore had laid some groundwork for things called the New Nationalism. It should have been a clue right there, because you're a Nazi party, they're National Socialist Party, okay? National Socialist. Like I say, is the difference between fascism and socialism is one is socialized nationalism and one's nationalized socialism. So the end result is the same of all of these isms, that they're all on the progressive line. They go straight to tyranny. It may take a while, But that's the idea, is that you subjugate the the lower classes. So you have to destroy the middle class. With the middle class, you have liberty. With the middle class, you have freedom, because there's enough people with enough money spread amongst them to influence the government. So you have to destroy the middle class, and that's what they've been doing for over 100 years. And they're really close to basically completing that. So everybody's at the lower level. Everybody that's not worthy of rule is subjugated to the government. The government provides their sustenance, and now you can control a population. And that's what it's all about. This stuff with Occupy Wall Street and all this other nonsense, these are just ill-educated individuals who are seeking to impose a tyranny. They're not even close to the framers, but if you listen to them, it's just the same communist stuff that we heard in the 30s and the 40s in Europe. It's all respun. You got one of the greatest creators of destruction of governments and Soros funding them. And unfortunately, Wall Street isn't the problem. The problem is at Congress. The problem is the progressive movements that all seek to first destroy any hope of liberty, and then they'll destroy one another so that only one may rule. And that's where the real problem is. So forget this crony capitalism stuff. Nothing doesn't exist. That's just fascism. And that's what we have in the bank bailouts. We have fascism in play, where the government, with cahoots with big business, is creating tyranny. And then in GM, they just went out and basically bought the company. And that's your communism, socialism, Marxism type various, there's subtleties there, but they're all in the same thread. They all are progressive. They all lead to destruction. They all lead to tyranny. And at the end of it, at the end of all this crap, is a handful of people allowed to rule over us. But we've got to get the middle class back and support liberty once again. Thank you.